Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope everybody is having an awesome day today. For those of you celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas today. Welcome Anna. Nice to see a member already in the class. Hi Omit and Morningstar. Today everybody, it is IELTS Speaking. We will be looking at a speaking interview for the IELTS exam. So if you have an upcoming IELTS exam and you're trying to figure out what to do and how to do and get some last minute tips potentially, you're in the right place. Students, this speaking is definitely not about a mirage. It's always about the second part. In this case, it's describe something you made yourself for a friend or a family member, just getting you to think about that already while I introduce the class. So the speaking is made up of 3 parts, and part 2 is a cue card that asks you to read some questions and speak for a minute or two. And the topic of this one again is describe something you made yourself for a friend or a family member. And I think that's kind of a good question for Christmas time, as I'm sure there are a lot of handmade gifts and presents being handed out around the world today. So that's the topic of today's class. We'll focus on that part 2, and many of you will have a chance to speak and respond to that part 2. So it's a handmade for friends, let's say, is the topic of today. Welcome Romelia, nice to see one of our chat moderators here today. Hi Sanjar, Fahad, Parth, good to have all of you here with me. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. These are our websites. They power these live lessons. They contain all of our materials. The academic website looks like this with the blue background. If you'd like to join the premium version, just click this big red button right there. It's a one-time payment. You get lifetime access. And for general IELTS, it's the same idea, gieltshelp.com. It's with the green background here. Once you click that button, you can use this code BOOST9 for an extra 10% discount. We're trying to boost your score to a band 9 level. That's our goal here at aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. We are IDP affiliates, British Council partners, IELTS test registration centers. We help thousands of students every single day. Yeah, so Otman, you're in the right place. Okay, I've pinned the discount code and the URLs to the top of the chat. Okay, and for those of you who are premium members, you get weekly Zoom classes. You get 2 of those each week, one on Thursday, one on Friday, so tomorrow and the day after, and we will have them this week as well. If you want to check out what those look like, follow this link. I'll drop this into the chat. And those classes are through Zoom. There's usually about 15 to 20 students per class, lots of attention and opportunities to speak and interact. So again, that new discount code is BOOST9. The apps for your phone are Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help. Those apps will link to the websites. Instagram, IELTS_AEHelp and GIELTS Help. Check that out. And if you have questions, just send me an email. Adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. You should get a response within 24 to 48 hours of sending an email. If you don't, just give us a nudge. All right, Deborah, thank you so much for all those wishes. I hope you're having a good time there in Ghana. We do have a lot of students who return and attend classes regularly like Deborah, and that is a great way to improve your English. Consistency is key. So we're into the 25th today, speaking again right now. Tomorrow, 26th, we'll do a reading with our premium members through Zoom, and then again speaking on the 27th. You'll get a taste for that Zoom speaking today. We'll get in that pretty quick here this morning. I'd like to interact with you as much as possible. Okay. All right, students. So speaking is made up of 3 parts. Okay. Part 1 of speaking, introductions. They'll usually start with this question: may I see your identification? So just for those of you, again, who are new, show up to your IELTS exam early. Make sure you're prepared. Make sure you know some answers to these questions because they always ask them. Don't just say, yeah, sure. The examiner is not your pal. It's not just some stranger on the street. They're there to measure your English. So start strong. Yes, of course. Here's my ID I used to register for the test. Please take a look. Be serious right from the beginning. All right. See all those Christmas wishes going out. That's fantastic. And I'm amazed that there's already 43 people in this class, given that it's a holiday for much of the world today. All right. So again, just keep in mind, full sentences, fluency right away. Okay. Yeah, Deborah, I think that was my mistake. It is meant to be a reading and a speaking. Yeah, not a speaking and a speaking. But we'll figure that out for those premium students. Okay. Reading has lots of speaking too, because there's a lot of interaction there with reading classes. So, okay. Anna says, yes, gladly. This is my passport. Please have a look at my credentials. Very good. Okay. Otman, I will not delete this video. This YouTube video is recorded and it is up in the live sections of our channel, so you can always review it there. Okay. All right, students. So after you answer that first question, of course, they will ask your name. They're matching your name to the ID. So they'll say, what is your full name? And you might say something like, my given name is Santa, and my surname is Claus. Please just call me Santa. I thought I'd throw something Christmassy in there. There you go. So again, tell them what you want to be called. When they ask you that question, they will always say, what would you like to be called, if you don't answer it right away. Okay. Deborah, I've already sent the links for the premium classes for tomorrow and Friday. So if you don't have it, send me an email. You should have gotten that days ago. Okay, so again, students, this is speaking, so make sure to speak and repeat. Copy what I say, copy how I say it. Okay. It's very important. I speak with a West Coast North American accent. It's a lot of Hollywood movies will have people speaking with similar accents. Okay, so try to copy it. What is your full name? My given name is Santa, and my surname is Claus. Please just call me Santa. Angelo, back after 4 years. I do remember your handle, Angelo Cristiano. Nice to see you back here. All right. Okay, and then they'll ask you a couple of questions to get you to feel comfortable with the exam. So they'll ask you a question like, how did you come to this exam? Okay. Again, give me a nice, full sentence answer for this one. How did you come to this exam? I took bus number 43 to downtown, and then I walked the rest of the way from the stop, about 10 minutes, to get to this exam center. Okay. So again, nice full sentence answers. Use numbers as soon as you have the chance. Numbers are great for communication. Okay. So How did you come to this exam? I took bus number 43 to downtown, and then I walked the rest of the way from the stop, about 10 minutes, to get to this exam center. Okay, if I hear a candidate say a response like that, I'm like, all right, this person is putting effort into their communication and they're speaking clearly. Okay. Kogo Ramori 30 says, how hard is it to go from a 7.5 to a 9? You mean from good English to expert English? It depends on your skills, your talents, how much time you invest, and whether or not you're learning from the correct materials. Students learning IELTS from the correct materials is super important. That's why I keep telling you, I know there's a lot of free stuff out there. I know there's a lot of good material out there as well. However, there is a lot of bad material, so that's why I'm always suggesting to join our premium courses, because I know you're going to be learning from good materials here in your My Student account. For instance, for the speaking, we've got these lesson videos, and there's 125 interview speaking lessons and practice videos for you to improve on a lot of different topics with correct strategies. And that's really, really important to get those higher band scores like very good 8 or band 9 expert. Okay, so that's why I keep kind of nudging you to join these websites and join these live classes as much as possible. Okay, it is, yes, I'm soliciting the course, of course, but it's also in good intent. So, all right. Then when you answer a couple of questions to warm up, the examiner will introduce part 1. So they'll say, let's talk about time. Okay. Kogo Romori says, I already bought it. Good for you. That's awesome. Make sure that you're joining those premium live classes too, okay? Tomorrow and on Friday. Kogo Romori. All right. Okay. So let's talk about time. Time. Now, as soon as you hear this kind of a word, like let's talk about time, you should immediately be thinking numbers, right? Time is measured in seconds, minutes, hours, days, months, years. We have some very specific quantification for time, meaning numbers. And you want to use numbers because that will definitely help boost your score, okay? All right, Neymar says, soliciting, appreciating, exaggerate. Solicit means to sell something, means to encourage to purchase for someone, okay, to solicit. If individuals do not want door-to-door salesmen to come to their house, they'll put a sticker out on their door that says no soliciting. Okay. All right. And it's CITING, soliciting. Okay. So here we go. What do you like to do in your free time? And then here, as I said, we could quantify this right away. So we could say in my spare time, in the evenings, from 6 onwards, and on my weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, I like to do sports and read books. I'm a huge fan of football. I just played a great game last Saturday. Okay. So that would be like a band 9 answer where the examiner says, wow, okay, that's a lot of clarity, very specific, good quantification, evening, 6 p.m. onwards, Saturdays and Sundays on the weekend. It's like the examiner goes, okay, I know when you have spare time and I know what you do in that spare time. In fact, I know what you did last Saturday. Fantastic. Okay. So again, what do you like to do in your free time? In my spare time, in the evening, from 6 onwards, and on my weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, I like to do sports and read books. I'm a huge fan of football. I just played a great game last Saturday. Okay. Quinn Tram says, what does onwards mean? Can you explain it? Onwards means like following. Okay, so after that. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 until I go to bed. That's onward. Okay. Neymar has this answer for us. Thank you, Neymar. Neymar says, I love to delve into some scientific research papers for the purpose of staying updated in my field and also to satisfy my thirst for knowledge. I'm currently reading the Lancet journal for this month. Yeah, now that's good, Neymar. Just make sure that you start by reflecting the question. Because it almost sounds like you're answering a question about what do you do for school. But here you're actually talking about your free time. And I get it. I get it. You just need to tell me that, okay? So in my leisure time. Wow, that's your leisure time? So in my leisure time. Reflect the question, always, students. It will make it very clear for the examiner that you understood the question, especially when you paraphrase it like this. Okay? All right, is that clear? Especially when you say something like reading scientific research papers. That sounds more like you're doing work or school, right? But yeah, of course, many of us enjoy that in our spare time as well. Neymar says, big thumbs up. Clear. Okay, students, so you have several more part 1 questions. They get a little bit more and more difficult as you go along. The grammar difficulty increases, like has, the way you keep track of time, for instance, present perfect, or if you could change one part of your time management, conditional, right? So you see these kind of more challenging grammar forms, and again, you want to reflect those. And then the examiner will get into part 2. So the examiner will say that is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions on a card. You will have 1 minute to read these, think about your answers, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start and when to stop. And yes, they speak this quickly. They just use natural English, right? They're not an English teacher. They're not there to teach you. They're simply there to check out your proficiency. You could be a native speaker. I sat the IELTS exam. Native speakers sit the IELTS exam every year. I think I read an article that every year it's around 3 million exams that are administered for the IELTS, and 2 to 3 million. And of the 2 to 3 million, it's something like 50 to 60,000 of them are native speakers for different purposes, for work, teaching, immigration, just like non-native speakers. So keep that in mind, okay? Everyday English is about a band 7 on the IELTS. It's good English, okay? For band 8 or band 9, you have to speak technical and professional, or a combination of technical and professional English, right? That means a lot of communication skills. Okay. All right. Okay, students, so let's look at this part 2 and let's discuss what you need to do, and then we'll get into some Zoom volunteering. So we'll get you to volunteer through Zoom. If you don't have Zoom yet, make sure to download Zoom because we'll use that app in a few moments here. Okay. All right. Here, the part 2 question, when they start you off, the examiner will say, okay, describe something you made yourself for a friend or family member. Your 1 minute preparation begins now. Okay, so here clearly you're talking about what? A person, place, object, idea, or an event. Okay, that's the first step always, students. Remember, in the course, you learn this, right? At aehelp.com, glshelp.com, on the websites, we teach you that part 2 is going to be about a person, a place, an object, an event, or an idea. And each of these 5 has a specific way of discussion with pieces, okay? Neymar, very good. Yeah, it's an object. Yeah. Yeah, Anna, it's kind of an idea. I agree with you. I think that's very smart, Anna, to say it's also kind of an idea, because when we make items for others, especially if they're very original, then we also have some sort of an idea leading up to that object. Primarily, though, it is an object. So you want to focus on object, Okay, and you're right, there's sometimes this little bit of a secondary aspect to it, like an idea. Okay, so with an object, what do you need to include? Okay, what should you discuss? What should you talk about? Okay. Morningstar, a scrapbook is a brilliant idea. I love it. Let's put that a little bit later when we get there. Okay, Neymar says the appearance. So what does the object look like? Yeah, it's very good, especially like if we're talking about a scrapbook. Food, Suman, is good too. Of course, we make food for others, so it could be some elaborate dinner or a cake for somebody. Yep, so think about the specific food for sure. Deborah says the origin. Yeah, where does the item come from? So where did you get it? Right. So if you've created a scrapbook, maybe you went to a stationery store or you ordered some of the materials online, like through Amazon. Maybe you ordered the album online. Maybe you made it. Right. So the appearance, the origin. What else? Nirajan says the time to make it. The time to make it, or when you made it, is also part of the origin. So it's like last year, it took me 3 hours, right? Neymar says the experience. That's right, Neymar. The experience is going to be the 5th one, so we'll kind of stick it here, right? Yeah. There's a little bit more here with the object. So the appearance, the origin, the use. Okay, so how do you use this object? What do you do with it? Okay, so if it's a wedding cake, then you eat it. Maybe you throw it. Maybe you take pictures. So what do you do with it? Use, and then the function, right? Or the application. Okay, to celebrate a special event, to express love for that individual, if it's a scrapbook or a birthday cake. So the function and then the experience, right? The individual was overjoyed. They talk about it to this day whenever we get together, and I just saw them last week, right? So these are the pieces that you should include when you are thinking about an object. Now, as you're planning, so you have 1 minute, okay? This should only take you like 5 seconds, 3 seconds of your preparation time. As long as you know that, okay, here it's an object, it should only take you 3 seconds. Now, always make sure to read the question first, right? So, and yes, students, you want to answer all of these questions on the cue card. So just read with me. Describe something you made yourself for a friend or family member. What it was, how did you make it? When did you make it? Who gave it to you? How did you and your friend or family feel about it? Okay. All right, so you're thinking about all these pieces. Now in this next step, as many of you already started doing, you have to think about the answer. One of the big mistakes is that a lot of candidates think this is just step 1, is think about the answer. No, step 1 is read the question, right? So many times candidates with relatively good English will make some big mistakes on part 2 because they don't pay attention to the questions, they don't pay attention to the topic, they just quickly try to think of an answer, they talk about their phone, and then they realize, wait a second, I didn't make my phone for my friend or my family member. So you need to be careful, okay? Make sure that you don't rush into answers. Step 3 is think of a couple of answers. Don't just think of one, okay? You might pigeonhole yourself. It means squeeze yourself into a difficult situation where you realize like it's the wrong answer, or I can't talk about it, I don't know the vocabulary. So think about a couple of answers. So we had birthday cake. We had scrapbook. Okay, somebody might explain in the chat what a scrapbook is. Neymar says a family painting or a family portrait. Sure. Family portrait is a little bit more accurate to say than family painting. Okay. Yeah, and Deborah, in this one, you might add pieces like requirements, right? That's what Anna was saying, is this is also kind of an idea, so you need to think about that. Okay. Anna says it could be just a beautiful bookmark. Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. We already have cake, Marjona, but that's a good idea. We have birthday cake. Try to be always specific, Marjona. So birthday cake maybe, sure. Neymar says a chocolate cake for neighbors who are also friends. Marjona says, how about a handmade bag or homemade ornaments? Yeah, it's Christmas time. I like how somebody included something Christmassy that people will often make. Homemade ornaments. Ornaments are decorations, right? Okay, very good. Students, now in the next part, you take notes based on your idea, okay? And then in the next step, step 4, or step 5, I should say, you come up with your first sentence. Okay, so for example, if you made a birthday cake for your friend, you could say last July, I made a delicious chocolate cake for my friend Liam's birthday. Okay, so still, even now, so many times in the IELTS exam, when the examiner says, okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up, please begin speaking, candidates will do this. They'll go, okay, well, so thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. Okay, that was like 20 seconds of your 2 minutes, and you haven't said anything yet. So the examiners really like it when candidates are prepared, when they know what to do. And as soon as they say, okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up, please begin speaking, the candidate begins immediately. They say, last July, I made a delicious chocolate cake for my friend, Liam, for his birthday. And then the examiner goes, oh, that's great. Okay, nice fluency, good concentration, good communication, right? Neymar, I haven't heard 3-stand cake. Maybe in the UK they say that. I'd have to check after the exam if I'm your examiner. It would be layer cake in Canada or the US, 3-layer cake. Okay. All right. Yeah, definitely avoid saying the word stuff. Okay. Yeah, and Neymar, I could be wrong. I'm not a cake expert, and the examiner won't know all the English in the world. So if you use an expression or a description that the examiner might not know, that's why they record, because they check that, right? So they would say, oh, is that correct English? And then they would just check it if they're not familiar. Yeah. Like I say, in Canada, US, the cake would be a 3-layered cake. Okay. All right, dream win, multiple choice for IELTS reading. That's definitely a different topic for a different day. We had reading yesterday, so check that out. Okay. All right, everybody. So I think a lot of you are preparing your thoughts and your answers for this cue card part 2. So let me give you a chance to speak. I've been doing lots of speaking up until now, and I think now it's your turn, and I will listen to your response and give you a band score estimate and also some feedback on what you could maybe do a little bit better next time to improve that band score. So let me put on my headphones. Tier is okay, Neymar. I'm familiar with that. 3-tier cake, 3-layer cake. I just haven't heard stand. But again, I'm not a cake professional. So, all right, students, for the speaking, just like in those premium student classes tomorrow and on Friday, we're going to use this link here. I'm going to put this into the chat. There you go. And I will start up this Zoom session now for you to join. So again, students, by joining this Zoom link, you'll be able to chat with me. Okay, let me just fire that up. Here we go. And we'll get into some speaking. Now, I will continue to use my camera for YouTube, so you'll hear my audio, but you could use your camera on Zoom. Just make sure that you're aware of what is happening in your camera, okay? So for those of you who are new to Zoom a little bit, pay attention to this little icon with the heart in your controls. It's the react button. That's where you can raise your hand to volunteer. So if you raise hand, then you'll see this little hand go up next to your panel, and then you'll be able to volunteer and answer questions. Okay, students, there are already some people in the waiting room here, so let me just get everybody in here who's already waiting. And I'll mute everyone just so we don't have a lot of noise. And then we'll take some volunteers. I'm going to try to lower my hand. There we go. So welcome Anna, Bakadir, Nimar, Fahad. Okay, again, click the link. Mr. Panda, Nelson, Basvetti, nice. Okay, I'd love to see some new volunteers here for us today on Christmas. Okay, Anna has her hand up. So Anna, let's get you to chime in. I think we haven't talked in a while. So
yes,
hi.
thank you. I was working really hard for these 3 months. Yeah.
Right on, getting a lot of work done. Good for you, Anna.
Yeah, and I missed lots of classes. Yeah.
All right. Well, you can always catch up a little bit of those classes by watching them on YouTube, right? So if you have a moment.
Yeah.
All right. Anna, well, first of all, Merry Christmas. I assume that you're celebrating it a little bit, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. And it's always good, students, to do what Anna's doing, which is basically just come back to English. Just come back to what you're passionate about and what has value, right?
I relax. I switch my brain and I relax a little bit when I think in English from Ukrainian to
nice.
English.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Okay, Anna, I'm going to start you off for this part 2. And then I'll take some notes while you speak. Are you ready?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, let's do it. So describe something you made yourself for a friend or family member. Your 1-minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Today I will describe a beautiful bookmark which I made for my mother. This bookmark was made in the form of a triangle. So I made this creative idea to use this form because my mother is a teacher of mathematics, and I think it made her laugh to use this bookmark. Also, I did some cross stitching on this bookmark because I am really good at the cross stitching. So I combined not only handicraft but also like some elements of design. And in my opinion, it was a positive experience for me because I was really engaged in this handicraft, and I didn't have any thoughts about other things. So I'm really proud of myself that I did this for my mother, and also I think this gift has a value for her because it was like organized by me, but I didn't pay money for this. I didn't buy this in the supermarket, so it was like all my patience, all my ideas comes to this. And I also wrote to this bookworm some notes, which called
okay, your 2 minutes is up. I will stop you there, and we will now go on to part 3. Anna, great job making a bookmark for your mother. I have to ask, because I know students sometimes make up the answer. Sometimes it's a real answer. The IELTS examiner really doesn't care. You can make it up or it can be something real. I'm just curious, did you really make this bookmark?
Yes.
You
It's
did.
real bookmark.
It's a real bookmark. It
Yes.
wasn't just a fictitious bookmark. Good for you. I thought it was. I was like, okay, it sounds like there's a lot of detail here with this bookmark, and that was great. Okay, so so right away, your band score would be like a solid. I think some examiners would give you a 7. They would say that's good English. Some examiners might give you a 6.5. Your fluency is definitely a 7. Coherence is 6.5 to 7. Lexical resource is about that as well. So it's kind of across the board with the marking criteria, a band 7. So I wrote down the ideas that you were saying, but I added a little bit. I did a little bit of correction just so you can see how this would be a bit more natural. Now, I didn't improve on the content. Okay, and I'll talk about that in a minute because content can always improve the score as well.
Coherence.
Okay, yeah, the content will improve the coherence, but content also improves lexical resource, for example, and potentially grammar scores as well. So content is really important. I'll talk about that in a minute. Let's just take a look at what you said. So you said, today I will describe a beautiful bookmark which I made for my mother. I thought that was great. Immediately you used an adjective clause here, which was really good, which I made for my mother. Examiners catch that. And then you said this bookmark was in the form of a triangle. Very nice. So immediately you're describing the appearance, especially because it's unique. Usually a bookmark is what shape? Anna, can you tell everybody? Usually a bookmark is what kind of a shape?
It's square. It's a square.
Not a square. Starts with an R. Let's see if one of your classmates can help you. Squares have equal sides. This does not have equal sides. So usually a bookmark is in the shape of a, very good, Neymar, of a rectangle.
Rectangle.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, but this one that you made was the shape of a triangle. Okay. All right. Yeah, and that was good. And then you said this next sentence, and I thought that was brilliant because it's kind of like, well, why would you make a triangle shape? So you said, I decided on this shape because my mom is a math teacher, and I thought that this would make her laugh. Can you just repeat this sentence after me? Because the way you said it was a little bit different. So I decided on this shape because my mom is a math teacher, and I thought that this would make her laugh.
I decided on this shape of triangle because my mother is math teacher, and it will make her laugh.
Yeah, this is a tricky one, right? The grammar here is past
I
condition.
decided on this because
but it doesn't work in this case. In this case, you do need the accurate grammar because it's conditional in the past as will be seen in the future. So just practice this. So I thought that this would make her laugh.
I thought that this would make her laugh.
Yeah, it's a challenging one. You have to really
practice
those.
Would make her laugh.
No, the previous one was correct. I thought that this would make her laugh. One more time, Anna. Yeah. I thought that this would make her laugh.
I thought it would make her laugh.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay as well. Yeah. And again, everybody, it's not just for Anna, it's for everybody. So this is challenging grammar for many. Make sure you're all repeating. Okay. And I liked your use of that correlative conjunction as well. You said, I combined not only handcrafting, but also design elements. Can you repeat that?
Yeah.
I combined not only handcraft, but also design elements.
But I also combined design elements.
Yeah, just the full sentence one more time, Anna, and everybody please repeat, not just Anna. So I combined not only handcraft, but also design elements.
I combined not only handicraft, but also design elements, and it has some ornaments.
Okay, decorations, sure.
Decoration.
Yeah, so this was all really great, and there was again a lot of good English there, a lot of good vocabulary, so that's why 5, 7 is good English, and so it's solid. There was one kind of missing piece though, where I was kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
why didn't you talk about this a little bit? So what do you think that was? What do you think I, as your listener, as your audience, what do you think I felt kind of was missed in this response, Anna? There's one piece that to me just really stuck out. It was like, oh, okay, you didn't talk about that. I guess you just assumed that I would know or understand it, but maybe you should have mentioned one or two sentences. I wonder if anybody else caught it, of what that was. Do you know what it was, Anna? What was the content?
The content was about like future in the past.
Well, okay. So, what's your topic? What's your answer? What's the topic here in this answer? What's
A gift which I made for my mother.
is a
Bookmark.
is a bookmark, right? So your
Yeah.
topic is the bookmark. That's the gift that you
Yes.
that you made. The gift I made is a bookmark, right? Okay.
Yes.
What was missing from the content?
A bookmark.
What about the bookmark?
Appearance.
No, you gave me you gave me some good content about the appearance.
Uses.
Exactly. Yeah, you didn't tell me what your mother does with this bookmark. So I just kind of guessed that your mother really likes reading and she maybe often loses the page that she's on, or she doesn't mark her books, so she doesn't read them completely. So, the use of this bookmark, like why did you give her this bookmark, right? What's the utility for your mom? So my mom is an avid, here, I'll give you a sentence I would have liked to hear, for example. Okay, so my mom is an avid reader,
Mm-hmm.
and I often saw her flipping pages.
Reading the novels of Shakespeare. So I decided to make this special gift in the shape of bookmark.
Yeah, exactly. So, or as a teacher, she has a lot of math books that she needs to reference, and I thought she could use this bookmark, right? So those kinds of sentences. So just try to repeat this one. My mom is an avid reader, and I often saw her flipping pages trying to find where she left off.
And I see her flipping pages, finding the right place of Shakespeare. So I decided to simplify her job and to make this a special bookmark
Perfect.
for her.
Right? So that's the utility, that's the use part in the object, right? And that kind of content really helps the examiner go, oh, okay, I get it. You made a bookmark because you're trying to help your mom to know where she is in the book. And when she's looking at that bookmark, she's reminded of how much her daughter cares for her. So that's the kind of explanation, right? All right, Anna, thank you so much. You're doing an awesome job. I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much for giving me a volunteer. I had a stressful job because like companies work for increasing the profit, and for this reason I should make lots of suitcases.
I get it, for sure, and I get it. So I'm happy that you got a little bit of a chance to disconnect and do something a bit different. Thank you, Anna. Have a great rest of your day.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that was Anna. Okay, yes, I see you there, Jack. Also, let's give somebody else a little bit of a chance who we might have never heard from before, but I'll keep you in mind, Jack. I always appreciate your positive attitude, so just hang on a little bit for me, okay? All right, let's get Nelson to chime in. Nelson Buzvetti. Nelson, are you there?
Good evening. Yes, I'm here.
How are you, Nelson?
Well, fine. Good evening from Kenya.
From Kenya. Nelson, is this your first time?
Yes, it's my first time. I'm a bit nervous.
That is absolutely okay.
I have an exam scheduled for next month on 22nd.
Ooh, okay. Good. So
Yes,
January 22nd, good way to start the year, right? Get a good IELTS score.
Awesome.
Okay. Nelson, why are you taking the IELTS exam?
It is for my immigration purposes.
Okay. Where are you going?
I'm supposed to go to the US.
Aha, what part of the US?
I've just done my nursing exam.
Mm-hmm.
So as part of the requirements, I'm supposed to do IELTS.
Okay, and are you going to the West Coast US, like California, Oregon, Central US, Eastern US?
We're yet to decide.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Go to California, it's nice, or Florida.
I consider that.
All right. Okay. Nelson, let's do this part 2. Are you ready? I'll start you off. Okay.
Yes, I.
All right.
Yeah.
Describe something you made yourself for a friend or family member. Your 1-minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay. So I did prepare a cake for my friend. So this was my friend Evans. So Evans has been my childhood friend that we grew with. He's seen me through thick and thin. He's a guy that has seen me through school. He's a bit older than me. Actually, he is 16 years older than me, but he has been there for me all through. He's a guy that I could seek guidance from. So at this time, I made a cake for him. This was in mid-July. And this was after I had bought my oven. This was my first time. I'd never ordered an oven before, so it was my first time. And then I had bought an oven. So it was a new machine. And then I had the skill of making cake from high school because I did home science in high school. So I had this skill in mind, but I had not had the chance of baking one because I had no oven. So this time around mid-July, we were able to buy an oven and then we were able to bake a cake for him. So he loves cake. He told me he loves cake. But now this time round, we wanted it to be a surprise. Now, he never expected it. Actually, we called him as a surprise. We told him we had something for him. So he never expected it that we had baked a cake for him. So we called him over. He came. Then we had him sit. We gave him a cup of water. And then, boom, the surprise. It was a cake for him. He was so excited. And then, actually, I remember even the same day after eating the cake, he did call back home. He talked to my mother. He expressed his gratitude and then said how surprised and glad he was because it was a major honor for him that I was able to do something for him something that he really likes. So after we ate the, we ate the cake.
2 minutes is up. I'm going to stop you there, and then we'll go on to part 3. All right. Well, it's very good that you're here, Nelson, for sure. Because one of the most important steps for you to get a good score in your IELTS is to feel comfortable and to use your English before you sit your IELTS exam. So Nelson, right away, the biggest tip I can give you when you have your exam on January 22nd, go to the exam center 1 hour before your test starts. Just relax, check out the building, maybe go to the washroom, and then find a couple people to just have some English conversations with. Okay, so I'm not sure what other languages you're using in your daily life, but don't use those before the exam. Just use English. And there's a very good reason I'm telling you this, Nelson. When you started your answer, in the first 20-30 seconds, you were like a band 6.5, so kind of fluent, but some awkward language and some short sentences. And then as you kind of got past that nervousness and that first 30 seconds, there was a noticeable increase in your English ability. So you went from like a band 6 to a very clear band 7, or maybe even a little bit higher. You started to use more complex grammar, longer sentences, more accurate language. Your answer became much more original. It didn't sound like you were just trying to impress me, but you're actually talking about the situation accurately. So there's a very distinct difference between the first several sentences and your last few sentences, okay? So when you walk into your IELTS exam, you want to be kind of at the top of your English. So go early and practice with others. Don't do like really hard English before you walk into your interview, but just some task or some part 1 questions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like here you said it in the beginning, you said, so I did prepare a cake for my friends. That's a band like 5. It's a short, awkward sentence. But then later on, you said, I had no experience baking one because I never had to. That's much more accurate. It's a much more accurate use of the verb, baking one, and had no experience. So that just, there's a very distinct improvement there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, always pay attention to the topic too. So when it's talking about, what did you make for your friend? Think about the origin, right? So you told me that, you had to get an oven first and that it was in July. But a cake, of course, comes from the kitchen, right? So you should include parts like I went to the supermarket and I bought some cocoa powder and I mixed it with sugar, flour, some other ingredients, and then I put the cake in the oven for an hour before my friend came over. So that's the origin part of it, right? Like see that part of it as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. I'm getting you.
All right. Any questions about the IELTS speaking, Nelson?
Based on how I've spoken, where could you what score could you give me?
So if I think about the start and the end, I would probably give you like a band 7, because usually the examiner should consider the improvement more. Had you started as strong as you finished, I'd probably give you like a band 7.5. Okay.
That's nice.
Okay. If you would have continued the same way as the first few sentences, I would have given you like a band 6. Okay. So so make sure that you warm up and just feel comfortable. Okay. You're there. You paid good money for the IELTS exam. The examiner sees lots of candidates. So just be you. Just do you. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. The initial part of it, I was a bit nervous, but as I got along, I was able to speak really without being nervous.
Yeah, and I could tell that you got more and more comfortable as you started speaking, for sure, right? You're a guy in Kenya, I'm a guy in Canada. We're just, listening to each other's English, right? So, all right, Nelson, come back again before your test, okay? And I'll try to help you a bit more.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Nelson.
Okay.
Okay, that was Nelson. Let's give Nelson a thumbs up. Anna, let's give Anna a thumbs up as well. Volunteers make these classes way more enjoyable. Okay, Jack, I am a man of my word. If you're still there, why don't you chime in?
Hello, Adrian.
Hi, Jack.
Merry Christmas. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing good. Yeah, I have 2 little kids and we opened gifts last night and it was a lot of fun. So I'm full of positive vibes and energy. How are you doing, Jack?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Do you celebrate Christmas?
Not yet, because Chinese people only celebrate the Chinese New Year in next month.
Is it in January this coming turn? Because I think it was.
It's in the beginning of February.
That's what I thought. That's yeah, because
February.
you said next month, and I was like, I thought it was in February. Yeah, okay. The cool part of living in where I am in Victoria, so Victoria has a large Chinese community, is we also celebrate Chinese New Year's. So we celebrate it all. We do Christmas, we do New Year's, we do Eid, we do Chinese New Year. We celebrate all year. It's one party after the next here in Canada, with all the different cultures. So it's fun living here. every month brings celebrations. Okay, Jack, let's do this. I'll give you an option here. Jack, do you want to do part 2 or do you want to try part 3 questions?
I prefer to practice part 2.
Part 2?
If
All right.
possible.
Okay, let's do it. I'll start you off. All right. Okay, here we go. So describe something you made yourself for a friend or family member. Your 1-minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
I'm going to describe a time that I built a bike for my best friend. It was last year. My friend asked me to build a bike for him. Because he saw my bike was excellent, I built my bike for myself. and it has a good performance and with a very low budget. So my best friend asked me to build a bike for him. His requirement is just want to ride this bike to travel. So I decided to build a travel bike for him. I purchased the materials online, including a giant frame and two carbon wheels and Shimano gears and a lot of other materials. And when I received these materials, I restock this material at my house. Because my work is very busy, I only have weekend time to finish this work. So I told this project spent me about 1 month. And I also encountered a lot of difficulties. And finally, I have overcome it and finished this project. And I delivered a beautiful bike to my friend. When my friend, at the beginning of the time, my friend ride his bike, he was astonished, and he says it's amazing. And the budget is very relatively low, and is about half of the price compared to buy a similar bike at the shop. So when I have time, I always ride my bike and my friend ride his bike. We go to the mountains or just to do some leisure riding at my city.
Your
So
time
I
is
think
up.
it's excellent.
I will stop you there, and we will now go on to part 3. Very nice, Jack. Very, very nice. All right, so you built a bike. Handmade bikes are awesome, I have to say, Jack. Did you really make it, or are you making it up?
Yes, yes. It's a really thing. It's a really story.
Okay, cool. I thought it was. I thought it was. Like I say, the examiner doesn't know, but they don't really care. Sometimes they'll figure it out. Like I can usually guess when it's a real story, but some candidates are really good at making it up too. No, that's fantastic. All right. Good information. Band score is about a 6. You're fluent, so you have no problem talking continuously. First tip here is that you did kind of choose a challenging topic. So talking about building a bike for a friend is not an easy topic. It's not like talking about making a cake or a bookmark. So this is where you might want to think in the exam like, okay, this is true and it's fun and I love it, but maybe I'm going to choose something simpler to talk about, like making a sandwich for my friend yesterday for lunch, because it just, I used bread, cheese, salami, layered it. He enjoyed it. He was so hungry. Way easier to talk about, right? Talking about a bike is difficult. So careful, everybody, of what you choose for part 2, even if you really are kind of like excited about the topic. A good example here, Jack, is materials. So you kept saying like the materials for the bike. Bikes have components. So the correct English is components, bike components, like the gear shift, brake, pedal stem, seat stem, handlebars, rims. So there's a lot of unique vocabulary that's connected to bikes. So I got it a little bit, but I didn't, it did not feel like an expert user of English talking about bikes, right? Because there's just so much more rich vocabulary there with bikes that you could have used. The other important tip, Jack, is be careful with your tenses. So always pay careful attention to using the correct present, past, or past participle for the verbs. Often I found that you're using present simple when you should be using the past tense of verbs. Does that make sense? Right? Because this is a bike that you had built. So you should have used some past perfect and definitely a bit more past simple as well. Right? Careful with that. I wrote down a little bit of this. Just repeat this sentence after me. Although I had encountered a lot of challenges like mismatched components, I was able to eventually finish the bike.
Although I had encountered a lot of challenges, like mismatched
Components.
components,
I eventually finished
I
building the
eventually
bike.
I eventually build the bike.
Perfect. Okay. So, yeah, a little bit more attention to those verb tenses, and be careful with your choice, right? So sometimes the simple choice is the better choice, because the IELTS, it's about, getting the best mark possible. And sometimes that means picking a topic that's maybe not as exciting as the one you'd like to talk about in the real world, right? Like if you and I, we met in the real world, I'm sure we could talk about bikes all day, because I love bikes too. I'd probably get you to build me one. Like, Jack, can you build me one? Don't build me a bike, Jack. I'm just kidding. But I have a good bike. but yeah, I would talk to you about this topic all day, but not for the IELTS. For the IELTS, choose an easy path. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Jack, thank you so much for being my third volunteer today. That was great. And what a great friend you are to build your friend a custom bike. That's a lot of work for sure.
Okay, I have one question. Adrian.
Yeah.
What's the overall score for my answer?
Yeah, for the overall
Overall
score,
score.
I'd probably give you like a band 6. So I would say it's fluent, but definitely needs a little bit more before I could call it good or getting to good English. Those verb tenses and that vocabulary is important for this topic. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but
got
keep it up, Jack.
Thank you.
Keep it up. Keep it up. You're doing good. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Jack.
Thank you.
Bye, Jack. All right, and I see that there's a bit going on in the chat here as well. Some students are reaching out to find speaking partners, which is great. I'm going to end the Zoom session for now, everybody, and just come back to YouTube here a little bit as we're running out of time. And it is Christmas, so I can already hear some family members near my studio stirring around. So students, again, just remember that a lot more interactions are available tomorrow and on Friday for premium members. Premium members, you become a premium member by clicking the big red button here at aehelp.com. And then tomorrow we'll have 2 full Zoom classes. Now, if you're purchasing now or in the last day or two, please send me an email, because I already sent the links for the Zoom classes for tomorrow, and those are exclusively on Zoom. General IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com here. And if you're purchasing now and you want those links, then send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com, okay? And then I'll send you the links for those Zoom classes. Again, for those of you celebrating Christmas, have a very happy, safe holiday. I'll catch those of you who are premium users tomorrow. Those who are not, I'll see you next Tuesday. Much love to all of you, wherever you are in the world today. Keep up the good fight and the good work. Bye, everyone.